Yeah, so I did a video about Wes Watson a couple months ago and did really good views. You know, apparently there's a large audience that wants to hear about Wes Watson, right? Now, I don't like just lighting people up, you know? Like I don't like lighting people up. I don't like just looking for reasons to torch people unless they give me absolutely no choice, which is why you are looking at the gentleman right there because he gave me no choice, dude. You gave me no choice. You stepped into my world, dude. You want to talk about pro fighters, right? You know, like, oh, okay. Hey, pro fighters versus Wes Watson. That's what he wanted to talk about. So that's what we're going to do today, you guys. We're going to listen to Wes Watson's thoughts on how he would fare against professional fighters if violence were on the table. And, you know, listen, dude. It takes a real man to be able to acknowledge that you could lose a fight to a person who exists on Earth, right? You know, like living in some semblance of reality is hard for some people where it's like, look, guy, like no one's going to win every fight, man. You know, like it's okay. It doesn't make you not tough to acknowledge that John Jones would smash your face into 1,000 pieces. You know, you don't need to come up with some magic way that you still win. All right. Because that just demonstrates that you're super insecure about the fact that you have a bunch of people that you would lose the fights to, you know? Now, and I want to be perfectly clear. We're not going to be talking about pro fighters because pro fighters are so far above this conversation that it's absolutely laughable. We're going to be talking about like white belts in jiu-jitsu, okay? Or like white belt Muay Thai guy. Well, they don't do belts. Person who's been training for 1 year, okay? So that's what we're going to do. By the way, I did Anthony Smith's podcast, and that is about to drop tonight. This is it right here. Right there. That's Anthony Smith right there. That over there is Chael Sonnen, another friend of mine. Okay. So on paper with Anthony Smith, let me make that a little bit bigger so you can see it, dude. Okay. This is Anthony Smith's podcast. He just went out on his own, and you guys should absolutely go follow it because he's doing great work. See, there you go. On paper with Anthony Smith. Go check that out. Our episode drops tonight. It may have already been out, actually, but definitely go follow his channel because it's brand new and it's the bomb. We talked about Diddy. We talked about all kinds of stuff. You should definitely go watch it. He's a really good buddy of mine. So we had a great conversation. Also, you know, hey, if you don't know who he is, he literally just retired from the UFC like 5 minutes ago. He's like 6'5". He's enormous. And he, it's possible I might use him as an example. You know, like when we're talking about Wes Watson's thoughts on pro fighters shortly. Okay. So let's jump right into that part of the conversation right now. Wes, tell us what you think about UFC fighters, pro fighters, and how you'd fare against them.
Don't encourage anyone to run up to these pro fighters. Pro fighters are pussies, okay? They're only good in the ring. People I know will not accept a loss, okay? If a pro fighter did his jujitsu on him, then the guy's gonna come back and duct tape his family.
Okay, just so we're clear. I'm gonna start right there. I'm not gonna be able to get through very much of this without stopping it. Okay, so here's the thing about that, right? A pro fighter, okay, is like in another dimension from the people we're talking about, okay? You have no training. You have no idea how to defend against anything, okay? This is the funniest conversation ever because it's like, you know, these guys, if they take a loss, they'll come back and duct tape your family. You're like, oh, you mean if we allow him to survive? Okay, like, that's fine. Like, I'm not, like, for the record, I'm not looking to fight some psycho who's going to come and duct tape my family. Like, we're talking about hypotheticals, dude, right? We're talking about hypotheticals. Okay, so we're talking about a make-believe guy, right? So we're talking about a make-believe guy over here, right? A make-believe guy over here who might duct tape my family if this or that. Yeah, I don't want to fight that guy. And here's the thing. I wouldn't fight that guy because I'd have no reason to fight that guy. But just so we're clear, if your make-believe guy rolled up on me and wanted to fight bare fist and he doesn't have training, he survives if I allow him to survive. That is a fact, okay? Like, if I decide I want to Kimura lock him and tear his shoulder out of the socket and break his elbow, that is what I will do, and he will not be able to stop me from doing that, okay? If I decide to strangle him to death, that is exactly what I'll do, okay? If he has no weapons, he has no training, There are no street fighters who can overcome this. That is not a thing. Okay? He dies if I decide. He gets disjointed if I decide. I'm not going to do that because I'm not going to fight the guy. I'm not a psychopath. But for the record, there is no question about this. There is zero question about this. Okay? Now, you can say there's no question. He'll come and duct tape your family. Well, zippity-doo-dah, dude. The guy has nothing to lose. He's a lifer. Cool. Well, I don't tend to be around people like that. Okay? But we just need to get on the same page about this conversation. Okay? And pro fighters are squares or pussy. Pro fighters are pussies who are only good in the ring. That is the fucking stupidest thing I've ever heard in my entire life. Have you know any of these guys? Like, do you fucking know any pro fighters? How are they only good in the ring? Want to know what this is an identical conversation to? Hey, jiu-jitsu doesn't work in street fights. Oh, is that right? Doesn't work in street fights? Yeah, man, because like there might be like a bunch of attackers. Okay. So, all right. So you're saying like, oh, you'd be better off if you had a lot of Muay Thai if 4 guys attack you at once. Okay. I don't necessarily disagree with that. The ability to create distance and knock people unconscious is better, you know, if you're up against 4 or 5 people, for sure. For sure. How about a one-on-one fight? You know? And why do you assume that people who know jiu-jitsu do not also know Muay Thai? Okay? I'm not a professional fighter. If I kick someone in the ribs, their ribs will explode. Okay? If we do, you know, like we're talking about untrained people. If I kick them in the back of their leg as hard as I can, they've never been kicked before, they are going to fall over and grip their leg and cry. Okay? Like, and if they get close enough to me where I can grab as much as their wrist, I'm going to strangle them to death. I'm a pussy because I'm not going to go duct tape their family. Run me through the logic. Okay, I'm sorry. I only talk for 20 seconds, dude. This is going to be impossible for me to get through. I'm sorry.
Okay? You don't want to fuck with the wrong people. And the wrong
That's good advice. You don't. That's true.
people out here in the world are not pro fighters. You guys need to wake up.
The wrong people to fuck with are not pro fighters. Okay. The wrong people to fuck with are people who will beat the shit out of you in that moment, or people who will come back if you win and duct tape your family. Okay. Both terrible to fuck with. Okay. Obviously, the only reason you would frame this conversation this way is if you are having problems with the back of your brain that's saying, oh shit, there's like this whole massive group of people that would beat the fuck out of me if we got in a fight. So like ipso facto mental gymnastics, those guys are pussies. And you're like, they're pussies? Yeah, because they wouldn't duct tape my family. You're like, would you duct tape someone's family if you took an ass kicking? Is that what you're talking about? Are we talking about you, or are you talking about your friends? Like, a person who wouldn't duct tape a person's family is a pussy? What if like they have, I don't know, $10 million and they don't want to go to prison? Like, and they'll just beat the shit out of they just, you know, like, what the? And I thought his entire lesson is like, you know, discipline, don't go to prison, all that stuff. Like, you think that you become proficient in martial arts by being a dumb shit that doesn't train? Like, while you're lifting weights, we're training to kill people with our bare hands. Like, that's what we're doing. I do that. I don't lift weights anymore. I only train martial arts. That's all I do. Okay? That's it, dude. And I keep it like that. Wes is much bigger than me, though.
These are very big time squares. Pro fighters are the epitome of squares. They're like, come in the ring and I'll fight you. The people I grew up with and went to prison with, they don't give a fuck about a ring. They don't give a fuck if they're on camera. They don't give a fuck if they have to fucking live the rest of their life in prison.
Good. Hey, that's a sick flex, dude. That is a sick flex. He's like, look, man, if you're not down to do life in prison, you're a pussy. I'm like, if you're not down to do life in prison, you're a pussy. I don't know, man. That's a tough sell for me, dude. That's a tough sell for me. And run me through again. Okay, so pro fighters are pussies. Okay, so let's just go. UFC fighters are pussies, you said. Pro fighters are pussies. Okay. Hey, we want to pay you $50,000 to get into a ring with another guy who has spent every waking minute of the last 10 years training to be the most lethal motherfucker on earth. And we want you to fight him in front of about 1 million live viewers and about 17,000 people who will be physically in the building. Are you down with that? Yeah, fuck yeah, I'm down with that. Oh, what a pussy. Hey, listen, I've heard about a lot of pussy shit before, and that certainly, counts. It's like, I mean, Wes, you weren't down to fight a dude one-on-one at a gym. Like, you guys jumped a dude at a gym. That's more gangster than, like, fighting him one-on-one? I don't understand that logic, dude. I'm seriously asking. Like, I don't understand that logic at all. Okay? But let's continue. Keep telling us how, like, you guys are more gangster than pro fighters. And I'm not saying that pro fighters are more gangster than you. I'm saying your talk track screams insecurity of person who doesn't actually know how to fight.
You will not beat them. They will not take a loss. You guys live in a fantasy.
Oh, no, they'll take a fucking loss. 1,000% they'll take a fucking loss. If they don't know how to fight, if they have no training, they will absolutely 100% take a loss. Okay? If their ego can't take it and they come back and kill you, they still took the loss, so that's not correct.
Fantasy world where pro fighters aren't the biggest squares on the planet.
I'm sorry, dude. Oh, that is the funniest thing ever, dude. If someone would have asked me, like, what do you think Wes Watson would say if someone asked him if he could win a fight against John Jones, I would have been like, he'll figure out a way to say that he would win that fight. Like, 100%, he'll figure out a way, dude. You want to know what happens when you actually train martial arts? Is that thing goes away, dude. Everybody knows they can lose a fight, okay? Because we lose them all the time, okay? We lose them all the time. I'm not scared to lose fights because I lose fights all the time. You want to know who I don't lose fights to? Guys who don't train to fight, okay? All of you guys who have never trained are exactly the same as every other person who's come in on their first day, look, like, all right, man, I want to get down. And they get fucking worked, okay? Like, worked with no effort. Oh my God, I just watched the next section. I hadn't watched this. I wanted to, like, record my actual reaction to this. I'm gonna have to cut at least like 8 minutes of what I've talked to make sure that we get to this part. Because if anybody does not see this part of the conversation, it's going to be a goddamn tragedy. Because this is the most delusional thing I've ever heard a person say. Ever. Okay? Ever. In the history of delusion, this is the number one thing I've ever heard a person say. Ready? Watch this. I'm going to try to do better. I'm going to let him get through this talk track as best I can.
UFC fighting is gay. Like, all that shit, like MMA fighting and all that shit is for people who never really were in fights. Like, they never whooped ass their whole life. So they're always like, I'm gonna train and fight. Like, I've always just handled shit very easily. I never had to think about fighting because I always just extinguished the problem however I had to. So the point is like, that's for people who, like, never could really fight. They had to go learn to fight. I mean, people who just handle business, they don't have to learn to fight. There's a difference between fighters and violent people. You should really stay away from violent people because it doesn't matter how good you are at fighting when they want to take it to the level. They'll take you out. And so there's a huge difference here.
Oh my God, dude. Oh my God. This is literally, I'm telling you right now, okay? You're a violent person, right, dude? Okay. This is like me going to, like, Yale and going into the science program and telling them, like, look, man, hey, these guys are squares, dude. Okay. Like, if I want to do science, I just, like, do science, bro. Okay. There's a difference between, like, scientists and, like, science people, bro. Like, if I wanted to do science, I just did science. Okay, that is literally how stupid this fucking guy sounds, okay? Everyone who has excelled as a professional fighter is an insanely violent person, okay? Like, I don't think you understand. What do you think that they are the best in the world at? Playing checkers? They're the best in the world at kicking you so hard that your head detaches from your neck, dude, okay? if any of these UFC fighters kicked you in your leg, you would hobble away like a fucking, like an injured baby deer, okay? If they fought you 100%, you would be unconscious in 10 seconds, okay? Anyone who is 170 pounds or higher dispatches you inside of 30 seconds, okay? Anybody that's even remotely near your weight class, you could tell them you are only allowed to kick them. Nothing else. You can't grapple, you can't punch, you can't do anything. You're only allowed to use your legs, and they still start you inside of 30 seconds, okay? If you go to anyone your own size and you're like, you're only allowed to do jiu-jitsu, you have no chance. Like, you have no chance. None. Zero. The violent person narrative, okay, like, this is a common theme among actual fighters, is the guy who goes, you don't get it, man. When I see red, bodies start dropping. It's a cliche that we make fun of all the time. This is the walking example of the, when I see red, bodies hit the floor, because there's such a fucking joke. We destroy you guys, dude. Like, destroy. I'm not a pro, okay? I am not even close to a pro. I never even aspired to be a pro. Do you really think you beat me in a fight when all I do is train to fight? That's it? That's all I do. Every second you're lifting weights, I am training a new technique to break your arm or to strangle you to death. We're not going to find out. I'm not going to fight you, dude. Okay? I don't care about this. This is how I compete. I compete on the mic. You are very good at being on the mic. Exceptional even. Amazing at being on the mic, actually. Which is why you should stop saying such dumbass shit like this, dude. This is embarrassing. Like, this is fucking embarrassing. This is the dumbest fucking conversation of all time, okay? Stay in your lane, dude. Motivate people. Or if you want to start talking about fucking fighting, go train to fight, dude. You'll be good at it. Like, you'll be good at it. You'll be great at it. Go do jiu-jitsu for a year, okay? You're athletic. You're still pretty fucking young. You're on juice, so you'll be able to be young for the next 10 years. You'll still be vicious by the time you get your black belt. You'll only be, 50? So go do the work. Don't be one, like, it's hilarious. This is like Mr. fucking I do the work, guys. Hey, I'm the one that, like, does the work. So go do the work. Okay? Saying that you are tougher than pro fighters is the opposite of doing the work. That's delusional, guy. That's exactly the thing that you're talking about all the time. The losers who pretend, dude. You're a pretender. And your girl knows it, dude. Trust me. Your fucking girl knows it. If you think that she believes that you're beating a pro fighter in a fight, she is not believing that, but she doesn't care, because who cares? Okay? I'm not winning in a gangster off because I'm not duct taping anyone's family, because I'm not going to prison. Okay? I am good at the things I try to be good at. Okay? Like, this is the most idiotic conversation in history. Okay? In the history of conversation, this is the dumbest one. Let's continue, though.
You guys have it all misconstrued. Fighting is some weird sport shit that is all these people do, and it has nothing to do with violence, because a violent person will end your life. And this is the thing. You guys need to quit thinking that UFC people are going to be able to fuck around with violent motherfuckers, because a violent motherfucker won't lose. He won't take it. And you'll be like, wait, put the gloves on. And he's not going to hear it. And it's going to be
He's not going to hear it, because a jiu-jitsu guys will have strangled him unconscious or to death if they decided to. A violent guy, so no training, just violent. That's what we're talking about, right? Is going to beat a pro fighter. This is the stupidest conversation ever. This is the stupidest conversation ever. You can be both a violent motherfucker, and you can also be an actually dangerous guy if you run into a person who knows how to fight. You just have to also train. But you can't talk your way around getting strangled to death or getting knocked unconscious very, very easily. I've seen you fight, dude. Okay? Like, I've seen you fight. You're not going to beat a pro. It's like the idea that you're going to beat a pro fight. I can't. You have no chance. None. Zero. Fucking negative 100, okay? If you fought a pro fighter that's your size, you will not last 1 second, dude. As soon as they are within striking distance, they will look at your legs, throw a punch. You will go, oh, I see that coming in. Right behind that punch is a shin across your temple, and you'll wake up 5 minutes later. That is what will happen 100%, as certain as if your buddy who's the gangster aims a gun directly at my forehead and pulls the trigger, it's going to go off and kill me. That's how certain you are to lose the fight in the exact manner that I just laid out, okay? They'll look down, you go, oh shit, is he going to kick my legs? It's very different when when like both of you know you're in a fight, right? Okay, they're going to come here, he's going to look down and you're going to go, what's he going to go to my legs? He's going to throw a punch and you're going to be like, oh, I see what's coming. Except, nope, that was also misdirection and wachaka, you are done. Unconscious, okay? I can't, dude. This is fucking insane.